Hello comrades, Kami-sa Bro here today with SkyBoats. SkyBoats is the newest title from Brain Good Games. That's right. And if you're not familiar with this company, they are the ones who have, not too long ago, but then really the past 9 months or so, brought us 3 interesting little board games. And I call them board games because they have very similar aspects to a virtual board game, more so than your traditional game that you would think of. But anyway, these 3 games being Militia, Axes and Acres, and here, SkyBoats. So, you're probably wondering, what is SkyBoats exactly? Well, it's an interesting little game. I don't know if I would really call it a strategy game. Maybe it reminds me just a bit of a simplistic version of Catan, and I imagine that's mostly because of like the way the map is set up and so on. But it really has nothing in common with the game itself. In SkyBoats, you actually fly around these little tiles here using special abilities. Technically using these little ships here that have different fuel amounts with special abilities and goods that can be picked up and sold to the various cities that exist on the board. Generally, you have just a couple of ships to choose from. This is the 3rd level, and as such, the largest selection of ships that I've been given thus far. If we look here, we can see that each city has a set of demands. Right here is Santa Marta, and they're requesting gems and asparagus. If we take a look at Puerto Cabello, it's 2 gems, and if we look at Nassau, it's 2 carrots. That's right. So, how does this game work? Well, quite simply, you select your unit, or in this case your ship, and you left click on the tile you want to move. You've only got a certain limited amount of fuel, so you basically have to find clever ways to get to the various cities to sell the goods that you want to use. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my fuel for the Baja Bound, which is this ship right here. We're going to move it up 1. Yeah, we're going to move it up 1. We're going to take both of these goods, the banana and the gem, and then we are going to use the banana to give us wind magic, essentially a glide, which will push us along a couple of spaces. So in this case, if we use the banana, it's going to push us up 2 spaces. We're trying to get to Santa Marta and buy a contract so that we can get more gold and victory points. The ultimate goal of this game is to sell enough goods that you reach the victory point limit required of the level. In this case, it's 30. Level 2, it's 20, and level 1, it's 10. There's 5 different levels in the game from what I've seen. And it's pretty hard, really. And the maps are randomly generated, so that's something to keep in mind. The goods are constantly changing on the map. And technically, the maps are procedurally generated. It's hard to say that this adds a lot of replay value in the sense, because it does, but at the same time, the gameplay is very simplistic. It makes me think more of a puzzle game than a strategy game. Now, there of course is a lot of strategy and foresight. One mistake could be the difference between you failing the level altogether and having to start over or do the levels prior, or starting from the very beginning. And really just, and yes, you need foresight to essentially choose what the best path is. But at the same time, it makes me think of a puzzle game. That lack of, or essentially the idea that there's very little room for error. And even just the mechanics of the game, pushing yourself around on glides and short movements and so on, really kind of bring that idea home. So let's try moving the blue nose here. The blue nose has a banana immediately in range. So we're going to click here. We're going to get our banana, and we are going to use it on fuel. And then we're going to click 1 to fuel. And then we're going to move... Should we move to Puerto Cabello? Or Cabello? I'm not sure. Let's do it. Why not? So, let's take a look at the Big Easy now that we've moved him. Alright, the Big Easy is probably the best ship in our little fleet, but it can only glide 3 tiles. But it does have 3 fuel reservoirs, as it were, in 1 carrot. So, we can use the carrot, which I'm going to do, as a push towards this direction. And asparagus popped up on that piece there. So we could actually move back and take the asparagus. Alright, which we've done. Now we want to get... Should we want to get to Nassau, or should we go this way? What does he have? Okay, so he's got carrot, gem, and asparagus. It looks like Santa Marta would be the best choice for him. Or alternatively, we could go towards Puerto Cabello and try to get another carrot. If we can get another carrot, then we will be able to use that contract. So, what we're actually going to do, and I've changed my mind again, is we're going to click on the blue nose. We're going to buy that contract right there, and we're going to click on the Baja Bound, and we're going to swap positions with the Big Easy. Now, the Big Easy pretty much has all the goods it needs. It just needs a carrot. Alright, so we're going to move here. We've got our carrot, and now we're going to figure out how we're going to get to Puerto Cabello. First, we're going to use our asparagus to push us 2 spaces to the top right. We can now use our ruby to continue our push. Yep, there we go. And look at that. See, we're 1 space away from Puerto Cabello. So, we should move the blue nose now. Absolutely. Get the blue nose out of the way, as it were. Well, actually... we're not going to be able to move it out of the way, but this should probably work for the next turn. Alternatively, should we put down banana? Is there anything a banana can do for us? Actually, yes, we're going to put banana right there. Alright, so everybody's moved. The only thing I haven't done is magnet, which I can do. I'm going to use on that asparagus, because why not? We got the asparagus to Puerto Cabello, and boom, we're done. That is our first turn. Now, something important to keep in mind as well is you only have a certain amount of turns to complete these objectives in. It's kind of an insultingly low amount of turns, but I guess that's where the real strategy comes in, where trying to figure out the best routes and how best to maximize your various movements to accomplish your goals. Now, again, I should probably be clear here, and I'm kind of like going all over the place, but truly, I think this is an interesting concept for a game. We're gonna have to sell that. Let's sell that. Let's sell it. Get our gold. Absolutely. Yes, there we go. So now we can refuel 1 and we can move out the way. Phenomenal. All right. So as I was saying, this is a cool game. I like it. It's an interesting concept, to say the least. Is it a phenomenal game? Not really. I mean, it's okay. It's very well designed. It clearly has an interesting concept, but it feels... Maybe I'm too early in the game, but my first impressions after about an hour of playing it is that there's not a whole lot here. It's literally as it's as simple as figuring out these puzzles, which, I mean, if that is the full intention of the game, then absolutely it accomplishes that very well. And for a simplistic game, these levels are surprisingly challenging, like very, very challenging, almost aggravatingly so. Now, that shouldn't be something to knock on it, mind you. People like challenge. A lot of people prefer challenge in their games. And it could be because I'm doing this video at approximately midnight my time, so it could just be that it's grating a bit on me, but honestly, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. And BrainGood's other games are pretty cheap. They have a pretty good pricing model. Militia's $5.99 and Axes and Acres is only $9.99. So, you know, I think I gotta suggest it. Like, if you're into puzzle games, if you're into board games, this might be something for you. Or if you're more interested in, you know, basically a challenging kind of strategic puzzle game in a sense, then this may be for you. However, I will definitely urge those who are not fans of puzzle games, if you don't like the idea of playing, basically challenging your brain a bit and just putting a bit of struggle on yourself, then this is probably not your game. But at the same time, Brain Good's games, other games, are probably not up your alley. I'll tell you right now, I tried out Axes and Acres, and although it seemed to be an incredibly interesting game, it was really, really tough. It's a very complicated little strategy game. It's very deep, and it takes quite a few hours to even understand exactly what you're doing in that game. Thankfully, this game has a much easier learning curve, and I would highly suggest you just go ahead and skip the tutorial. The tutorial, in my opinion, not that it didn't explain how the basics worked, it absolutely did, but it was almost frustrating in how constricting it was. So I got the basics of what wind magic was and how to move, and then I just started playing the game myself. So, yes. But anyway, this has been Commissar Bro taking a look at SkyBoat from Brain Good Games. And like I said, I definitely recommend you at least take a look at maybe some other gameplay footage to see if this is something you're into. And the game will be available approximately in 14 hours on the 23rd of August. And with that, this has been CB. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.